Hey everybody, it's Kate and Leslie Ann here. We are so excited to be talking to our fit girls tonight. We have been talking about this Fit Girls chat seriously for like the last month, basically since we had our last chat. And we had so much fun talking with you girls last month about the big exercise mistakes that people make during the summer. I don't know about you, but since our chat, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this all over the place. And so I'm just so glad that you're here and that we can talk about doing things in a better way. So tonight, we talked last month about summer exercise and how to be fit and to also, enjoy your summer because I don't know about you, but I want to have fun at my summer, don't you? I mean, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be about stressing and obsessing. So we talked all about the exercise component last month, and tonight we are going to chat about the nutrition. And nutrition is huge. So before we get started, I want everybody to go over to their sidebar and make sure that you familiarize yourself with our chat software. So this Fit Girls chat is like high-end tech stuff. I mean, it's like really hardcore awesome. We are chatting with girls all across the country, and we're so excited that you're here, and we want you to know how to use our chat most effectively. So on that sidebar, go over to the chat. You'll see that tab at the top, and I just want you to say, hey, let us know that you're here so that we can see you. And I want you to know that we are going to be checking in this chat box all throughout our talk tonight, answering any questions that you have. So Leslie Ann will be there while I'm chatting, and I'll be there while Leslie Ann's chatting. So if you have any specific questions, head on over to that chat box and let us know. This is all about you. We are so excited for what we have to share tonight. So without further ado, Leslie Ann, what do you think? I think we should get started.
I'm ready to roll, yeah.
All right, let's rock and roll. So our first topic when it comes to fat loss nutrition, one big mistake that I see many women make, especially in the summertime, is thinking that fat loss is all about eating fewer calories. Now, I showed you this really embarrassing before picture last month, and I didn't want to show it again because I hate looking at it, but it's a really good picture for you to see. The before picture that I have on the screen, I'm actually eating significantly less than I am in the after picture. In the before picture, I was all about counting calories, okay? I was like, oh my gosh, like the lower the calories, the better. I want to look good in my bikini, yada, yada. I did not feel good in my bikini. And I was stressing to the max trying to track and count my stupid calories. In the second picture, I felt pretty good in my bikini, and I was eating like crazy. I wasn't worrying about tracking my calories. I was eating more of the right types of foods. And that's what we want you to understand tonight. It's all about quality, not just the quantity of your calories. It makes a significant difference in your ability to lose fat. And I'm sharing this with you because I learned firsthand. If you think that fat loss is only about how many calories you're eating, you're making a really serious mistake. I don't typically count calories, and I know that Leslie Ann doesn't either. When you keep your metabolic hormones balanced, the calorie intake actually takes care of itself. So when you're looking at calories, you can really start to look at the quality rather than the quantity. I found that most women pay attention to how many calories they're eating, but they really should be paying attention to the types of calories that they're eating instead. So how many of you have fallen prey to paying attention to the calories and just being just crazy calorie counters? Yeah, so it's so common, but I want you to understand why we don't want you to do it this way. And I wrote down an example for you, and I actually looked up the calories so I could be 100% accurate on this. So let me give you this example. A 500-calorie lunch of chicken and spinach salad with almonds, avocado, and a little bit of oil and vinegar dressing, okay? That is going to have a much different impact on your waistline, on the way you look in a bikini, than a 500-calorie Starbucks lunch of a blueberry muffin. And I'm so serious here. One of the lower calorie bakery items at Starbucks is the low-fat blueberry muffin, and it's still 300 calories. It's like all sugar. And a 2% latte. So 500 calories in that huge salad that I talked about, or 500 calories in a teeny tiny Starbucks muffin and a grande latte. Okay, so the calories are going to be the same between these two meals, but the way your body digests and processes these two meals is totally different. Okay, and that difference is going to have a very, very significant impact on your waistline and on your long-term fat loss. So the Starbucks lunch that I talked about, that's going to give you a big blood sugar spike. Who's been there with the blood sugar? Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it is brutal. It's like kind of a sugar high, right? And it's really only as fun as it lasts, which is, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. And it's followed by this awful sugar crash. So I'm talking like, hello, grouchy mom, okay? And with that sugar crash comes cravings and hunger and a decrease in energy. So when you look at that before picture, that's what I was feeling. Girls, seriously, I had cravings like crazy. I could not stand, like, I was always wanting bread and sweets and treats. Now I was trying to fight that urge, right? But it was miserable. I had zero energy. I was crashing like crazy, food coma all the way, and it was awful. The spinach salad, on the other hand, provides you with plenty of protein, and it gives you some healthy fat that's going to keep you full for hours. Additionally, you're not going to have that insulin spike that you would from a carb or sugar-based lunch. So the muffin latte combo is going to give that terrible insulin spike, whereas that giant salad, all that chicken, all that avocado, right, tons of veggies, it's going to keep you full. It's going to keep your hunger, energy, and your cravings balanced. So you're not going to crash midday, mid-afternoon, and you're not going to have to fight off sugar cravings. It's so much better. I'm telling you, this is the way. When you fuel your body with nutrient-dense, high-quality foods, you're naturally going to eat significantly fewer calories. And the cool thing about it is you don't even have to worry about tracking. It's natural. So that's my first tip. When it comes to your summer nutrition, I want you to think about what's easy. For me personally, it is just much easier not to have to carry around a little notepad tracking every stinking thing I eat, right? So focusing on the quality, eating nutrient-dense foods, fat loss-friendly type foods, okay? That's going to be lean protein, produce. We're going to talk more about that later on in our chat tonight. Focusing on the kinds of foods that we talk about tonight in our chat, you're not even going to have to worry about counting calories. So I want to hear a woohoo for not counting calories. Yes, 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 yes. So we are like woohooing because it's very freeing and it's awesome. So that is big mistake number one. Don't fall into this trap, okay? Big mistake number two. Oh, another before picture where I'm like, oh gosh. So just cutting white carbs is not going to be the answer. And I really want you to hear me because we've talked about abs being made in the kitchen, right? We even talked about that at our chat last month. But one mistake that I've seen many women make, and I know Leslie Ann can agree with this with the women that she coaches, is when they realize the importance of cleaning up their diet, they just cut their white carbs. okay? So they switch maybe from white pasta to wheat pasta. They go from white bread to wheat bread, and maybe from, white rice to brown rice. So it's true that white carbs really don't have any nutritional value. I totally agree with you on that, okay? And I do agree with you that it's true that cutting out white carbs out of your diet is a very good health move. But just cutting out the white carbs is not necessarily going to help you to lose fat, okay? And here's why. This is because you, if you're like me, and if you're like most of the women that I've worked with, you're likely going to substitute other carbs for your white carbs, right? And you're going to continue to intake a large amount of grain-based starchy carbohydrates. Just switching the type of carbs that you eat is not going to help you burn fat. So I really want you to understand this. Whole grains, whole wheat, brown rice, etc., they have some protein and fiber. So that is good. That's a plus. But these healthier grains typically do still have the same amount of calories and of carbohydrates. So you haven't really reduced much of anything if you've just added some nutrients. Are you following along with what I'm saying? So I love that they have more nutrients. They are far better for you than the white junk. But you still have to go one step further if you really want to take your fat loss and your fitness to the next level. And you have to reduce all grains, all starch, and all sugar. Okay? Now, I'm not saying completely eliminate. Remember, I want you to hear me here. I'm not saying eliminate. You don't cut out completely. You just reduce. Okay? So you haven't reduced much of anything if you're just switching the white for the brown. But when you start to reduce even your intake of the starchy carbohydrates, that's when you're really going to see your fat loss jump and get you to that next level, to that next goal. So remember, we talked about last month, the key to sustainable fat loss comes from both a caloric deficit and a balance of metabolic hormones. Well, this is what is so cool, okay? When you reduce your intake of starchy grains, sugars, that sort of thing, you do both. So you're getting both a caloric deficit and a balance of metabolic hormones when you work on reducing, not eliminating, just reducing. So by reducing your intake of grains and sugar without even counting calories, because remember, we are in a no calorie counting zone. So I think our hashtag last month was crunch free zone, right? Yeah, so this month is calorie free zone. We're not worrying about calories. Seriously, don't count them. You're going to be able to reduce your overall caloric intake without worrying about tracking. It's just going to happen naturally because these types of carbs are naturally very high in calories. So when you start to reduce the types of carbs you're eating, even the quote unquote healthy brown carbs or healthy carbs, whatever, you're going to be reducing that overall caloric intake, and that's one piece to the fat loss puzzle. So another benefit, just a complete side note, but reducing carbs, yes, even those whole grains, and the starch and the sugar, it really helps decrease water retention as well. So if you're on the call and you're like, quick tip for summer bikini look. If you are feeling bloated and you want to decrease some of your water retention, definitely pay attention to the carbs that you're eating because that will help you get rid of some of that water bloat. In fact, actually every gram of carbohydrates that you consume, your body holds on to 3 to 4 times more water than every gram of protein you consume. I'm serious. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, okay, so I'll say that again. For every gram of carbohydrates that you consume, your body holds on to 3 to 4 times more water than every gram of protein. So you can see why a diet that's high in these types of carbs is going to leave you much more bloated. And honestly, that's the look in my picture, in that before picture on the screen. I'm bloated, I'm puffy, right? I don't look tight and toned and lean. And that's a large contributing factor to belly bloat especially. So into that. In fact, I'll just tell you, my clients who reduce grain and starches and sugars for even just a week, I'm doing the Beyond Fit 7-day Jumpstart Challenge right now, and we're on day 4. So it's only been 4 days. And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm noticing such a dramatic difference in my waist already. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome, right? So my clients who do this over the course of a couple of months, oh my goodness, they notice a huge difference in their bellies, even if they don't lose much weight on the scale. So it's not all about the scale, right? And we talked about that last month too. But I say this so that you know, just changing from like white bread to wheat bread or white pasta to whole grain brown rice pasta is not necessarily going to get you that change that you're looking for. Now, I want to say also, before I hand it over to Leslie Ann, I'm not suggesting you go on an all-out carb war, okay? So we're not like anti-carbs here. There's plenty of room for carbs in your diet, okay? And you can get them through fruits, you can get them through vegetables, you can get them through grains and starch and even sugar on occasion, right? But all of that's going to be in moderation. And I want you to focus this summer on those healthy fruits and fibrous veggies, okay? So the amount of carbohydrates in fruits and veggies is awesome. It's enough to fuel your body, but it also comes with a lot of fiber that works on keeping you full, right? That avoids the insulin kind of blood sugar roller coaster that we talked about. The idea that we need a side of carbs or grain with every meal, so I'm thinking like rice, pasta, bread, potatoes, you know, that sort of thing, it's purely a comfort tradition. I mean, right? So if we now know, there's research that now shows even endurance athletes, I'm talking triathletes, marathon runners, that sort of thing, if they don't even need to be consuming large bowls of pasta before an event, we don't need to either. So it can be an uncomfortable shift for people. And if you're someone who really loves your grains, and that was me, I just want to encourage you, start off by just reducing them. We are not talking about eliminating completely. But here's a good example. Cut your portion size of grains in half and double your veggie consumption. Can we all get on board with that? That's an easy one, right? Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to track calories. We're going to get fat loss that's going to be so easy you don't even have to think about it. All you have to do is cut your grain portion in half and double your veggie consumption. The increase in veggies, it's going to fill you up. So you'll actually have less room. You'll be so full, you won't even be craving and wanting all those extra carbs, okay? Another tip is to limit your grains to kind of earlier in the day or around your workout, and that will help with your fat loss as well. So those are two of my big mistakes that I've seen. Now I'm going to hand it over to Leslie Ann, and she's going to share even more of the big nutrition mistakes that we are going to help you to completely avoid so you can have a fabulous, stress-free, don't sweat it, Fit Girl Summer. Leslie Ann?
Hey, so help me out here again. Remind me how I get my screen showing.
Okay. So go to screen share.
Okay. Nope, that's me.
Well, you look beautiful in that picture. When you click on the screen share.
Yeah, it was just there a minute ago. Hi guys.
Oh, that's me. Hey. So we told you this tech stuff is like super like high end.
There
And
it is.
that's why we have trouble figuring it out. But it's cool, right? Don't you love how you can log in and we can chat. You can listen. We got the screens going. We're even doing a recording so that the people who couldn't chat with us tonight, all of our fit girlfriends who couldn't make it, they're going to be able to listen in to a recording, which is awesome.
Cool. So I hit screen share. It's still not showing, is it?
It's still you.
This totally happened last time. It's
Well, you do look absolutely beautiful in that picture. But let's you want to send me your PowerPoint and I can share them for you.
It's okay. You know what? I can just talk.
Okay.
And we'll just look at your cute mom photo. All right, so guys, listen up. I know you guys are not going to have a visual here. We will send these to you after the presentation so you can see them all and have them all for your own information and education after the call. But the three things that I want to talk to you guys about tonight. The first one starts with protein. So Kate already talked a lot about that, but I really want you guys to focus on, I mean, this is summertime, right? So we're talking a lot about Can you guys hear me right now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. I'll say all of that again. So what I want to focus on with you guys right now is three big things, and I want to talk about them all in the context of the things that we all do in the summer. So that's things like going on vacations, going out of town, going on cruises, going to the beach, going to cookouts and barbecues with your friends, spending the afternoon in the pool, things like that. These are the activities that we want to be out doing in the summertime. So our whole premise for doing this webinar was that we want you guys to know how to live this lifestyle no matter where you are, especially during times of the year like the summer time when you just want to be outside with your friends, with your kids, enjoying life. You don't want to be stuck in your kitchen, you know, for 4 hours on a beautiful Sunday afternoon making all your food for the week, right? You want to be at the pool. You don't want to, you know, be stressing on a vacation over, what if I can't find the perfect meal at the restaurants, or what if the hotel I'm staying at doesn't have a good gym. All these things you really don't need to worry about if you are living a fat loss lifestyle. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about tonight is eating protein at every single meal. And my first point here is to stop eating like a girl. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. And actually, one of you commented on something very similar to this in the chat box just now. Allie mentioned that a lot of her girlfriends are very frustrated because they're trying to lose weight and they're eating their little 100-calorie snack packs and they're counting calories and they're eating low-fat things, but they're not getting any results. So I think we need to stop eating like society tells us that women and girls are supposed to eat, with these adorable portion sizes and tiny little snacks and you know, eating things like quinoa and black beans. You know what? Those are great healthy foods, but when I say I want you to eat protein at every meal, I want it to be actual protein. And for those of you that are vegetarians on the call, this is going to be a little more difficult because, you know, it's much easier for those of us that aren't vegetarians to hit our daily protein mark because we can eat things like chicken, we can eat things like steak. If you're a vegetarian, it's going to be a little tougher. You know, vegetables do have protein, but you're definitely going to want to supplement with something like whey protein or pea protein, you know, to make up that difference that you're not getting from meat. But make sure when you're eating protein at every meal, it's actual protein. So a lot of times I sit down with women and they tell me what they're eating during the day, and I say, How much protein are you eating? What are you eating? And they say things like, well, I eat almond butter, I eat peanut butter, I eat black beans, I eat quinoa. So here's the deal on nut butters. Yes, they have a little bit of protein in them. They do. But they are primarily fat. So do not look to nut butter as your primary source of protein because it's mostly fat, okay? And then looking at the black beans and the quinoa, hey, there's nothing wrong with those in moderation as long as you're eating the right amount for your activity level and your unique metabolism. But please know that black beans have way more carbohydrates than they have protein. So when I say protein, I mean a food that is primarily protein. It will have, some fat, very little fiber, and very little carbohydrates. You're looking at mostly animal products, so chicken, steak, fish. If it got 4 legs or it swims or whatever, if it was alive, that's what I want you to find for protein, okay? Because that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. It's going to do all those things for you that Kate just talked about, balancing your blood sugar, making your body much less likely to store fat, helping it build lean muscle. For those of you guys that are very active, I cannot tell you how important protein is. And a really simple equation that you guys can all do right now or after the call, if you want to know how much protein you need each day, I don't like math. This isn't that hard. Even I can do it, so you can do it. I want you to take your body weight, however much you weigh right now, and multiply it by 0.8 or 1. And that number is what you want to shoot for each day for your daily protein intake. And I bet right now your head is exploding if you just saw how big that number is. I bet you don't get anywhere near that. It's a lot. It's a tough number to hit. So you're not going to hit it every day. Maybe you don't get close, but as long as you're eating more and you're moving in that general direction, that's where we want you to be, and that's what's going to set you up for success. Keep your hunger at bay, keep your cravings at bay, and keep your energy high, and help you build a lean body that you can be proud of in the summer, and you can go to the pool and wear shorts and things like that without feeling bloated and stuffed into your clothes. Protein is a huge part of that. And lastly, one thing I want to say about protein, especially because summertime often means eating out, eating other places besides your own kitchen. Do not sweat the small stuff. You can't control every single ingredient. You can't control every single method of preparation. When you're at a friend's barbecue or you're at a restaurant, do the best you can, and make sure that you're eating a good-sized handful, I would say, of protein at each meal. And then if you can get some of your snacks as well, even better. So that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight on protein, and I made it first for a reason because it's super important. So the next thing I want to talk about is not being chained to your phone, your iPhone, your Android, and tracking every freaking bite you put in your mouth all summer. I am seeing more and more women chained to their devices, whether it's their phone or whether it's, a Nike Fuel Band or a Jawbone or, whatever these little fitness tracking devices are. And, they think that if they're not tracking these numbers and they're not controlling what they're eating, that they're going to gain tons of weight. All their progress is going to just go down the drain. And that really is not true. And the added stress that you're putting on yourself to track everything perfectly and to try to, measure, it's just not worth it. And the other piece of this, too, is that it's not accurate. You don't know how a restaurant prepares food. You don't know how your friends prepared the food for that barbecue. So trying to count calories and plug things into these devices that are so popular now, really, you're taking so much time away from your friends and family. And if you just stop the obsession over the numbers, I think we, especially as Americans, are so obsessed with numbers. We want a black and white, give me my number of calories that I need to stay under each day to lose weight. And, your body just doesn't work like that. So do not spend your summer, do not spend your money on these fancy new fad devices that are coming out, and there's a new one every week, a new app or a new wristband or some kind of tracking device that you can wear. Kate and I both provide really simple, short, intense, fat-burning workouts for our clients that work with us in person and online. You can take these workouts anywhere, okay? And the same thing with food. We teach you guys how to eat no matter where you are. We say often that fat loss happens anywhere. So as long as you are kind of following that template of protein and veggies and a little bit of clean carbs, then you don't really need to waste your summer buried in your phone tracking things. It's no way to live, and it's not accurate. It's not even going to get you results because it's not accurate data, and that's not how your body works anyways. So use that built-in tracking system. Notice how you feel in between meals. And I will say that when you guys are, I'm thinking right now of vacations that I've done. If you're doing a very active day, if you're going on a hike, if you are, you're in Hawaii and you're going to go paddleboarding and you're going to go surfing or hiking or, all these cool things that are out there that you guys do in the summers, know that it's okay to bump up your clean carbs a little bit. It's, if I were you, I would make my, cheat meal for the week or whatever on one of those days where I am very active. And, I realize that not all of you are able to do that because you have kids or maybe you're in a location that doesn't, facilitate that. But, use those active days on your vacation to enjoy your food a little bit more, to relax a little bit more, and just trust that your body's going to use it as fuel. And, just move on. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small stuff. That's a big theme with me. So moving on to the next thing I want to tell you is, okay, and this is coming from me. I'm a foodie. For those of you guys that don't know me, what I do is I put a foodie spin on fat loss. So I do a fat loss cooking school program. I'm constantly creating recipes for my clients and my friends and my family because I don't think that this lifestyle needs to be all chicken and broccoli all the time. Like, that makes me want to poke my eyes out and not eat. So it makes me just want to go back to the old way I was eating. And this lifestyle, you can enjoy food. You can go on vacation and try the most fabulous restaurant in town, or have a small piece of dessert that your friend is famous for at her cookout. So my point here, this is the takeaway, is that make your vacation treats count. Before you even leave, if I were you, I would use some of the online resources out there like Yelp or there's a ton of travel websites. Before you guys head out to a trip, do a little bit of research. Find out where the best places are in that town, because let's face it, one of the cool parts about vacation is experiencing new foods and new tastes and trying the local cuisine. I was in New Orleans last week for work, and so I'm not kidding you, every single person that I went to New Orleans with went straight to Café du Monde and got beignets and chicory coffee, because that's what you do in New Orleans. It's not what I did in New Orleans because I didn't want that for my treat meal. That's not where I wanted to indulge. That to me was just like, eating a Dunkin' Donut from down the street. Did not appeal at all. So get out of the mindset that when you're traveling, you need to, do what everyone else is doing, eat what everyone else is eating, and really pick and choose the things that are special to you and enjoy those. Get what you really, really want, enjoy the living daylights out of it, and then move on. I have personally found that when I go on trips and maybe relax my food a little bit, I don't go crazy. I don't just, go off the deep end, but there's something to be said for taking the occasional break from your diet. And if you're going somewhere amazing that, you're not going to get to again, find a cool local spot or a few regional things that are really, really special. Have a little bit, enjoy it, make it a big deal, and then just let that be part of the experience and move on. So don't judge yourself, don't beat yourself up, don't obsess over how bad you were, because all of that aftermath of you beating yourself up is really just an unhealthy place to be. And you need to understand that this lifestyle is not about being on the plan every single day. That's not real life, and that's not what summer's about. And the title of this webinar is Don't Sweat It. So don't sweat it. That's my big advice to you guys is know the basics. know the big stuff. And the big stuff for fat loss is exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle stuff. And we talked about training on the first call. We talked about the big stuff for nutrition tonight, the protein, the veggies, getting the right types of carbs and the right amount of carbs. And then your lifestyle, getting enough sleep, managing your stress, and vacation, huge time to relax, to have fun, and to get out and be active. So those are my tips for you guys as you're headed out on summer vacations and summer trips. And it is cool to see the comments coming in. Debbie had a question about the equation. Yep, it's 0.8 or 1. Exactly right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys. I'm watching the chat box. Kate's watching the chat box. What questions do you guys have for us about fat loss nutrition? We'll do a little Q&A here to wrap up the call.
I know we've thrown a lot of information at you here.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to, as we're wrapping up, start by making a list of a couple of things that you maybe could change in your diet or lifestyle this summer, and then begin to implement one new thing each week. Okay, so we don't want you to be trying to do all of this all at once. We have many weeks left of the summer, okay? So make a list of what we've been talking about. Hopefully you were taking notes. If you weren't, we'll send you the recording so you can listen to us again. Make a list of everything that you want to change in your diet and lifestyle this summer, and then begin by implementing one new thing. So pick one of the common mistakes we talked about and work on that, master it, and then add on to that. So, all right, Debbie. So we got Debbie with the protein. Does anybody have any other questions? What else can we answer for you before we wrap up? Patrick put Jackson to bed, so I mean, I can sit here and chat with you guys all night. Good. Well, it looks like everybody is set. Are you ready for a rockin' summer?
I hope so. I know I am, and I hope that you guys are as well. And please know that we're here for you as a resource all the time. We're always on social media. We're always on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and we'll talk to you wherever you are and help you out however we can. We are all in this together, and we love helping you guys and hearing your crazy, amazing stories about the small changes that you make and the payoff, the results that you get. I mean,
it's
that's
awesome.
what gets us out of bed in the morning, is hearing from you guys and hearing that this stuff is working and it's changing your life and your family's life and making you healthier and happier and more balanced.
That's what we're all about. It's awesome. So don't forget, take a picture wherever you are right now of your screen. Are you on the couch? Do you have your feet up? Are you sipping on, whatever? Are you outside? Take a picture of how you are listening in and how you are chatting with us tonight, and hashtag FitGirlsChat. I already posted mine. Leslie Ann, have you posted yours? You got to get on that before we shut it down.
I posted it on Twitter and my Facebook page of me drinking iced coffee before the call. So that's where I am. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Stalking.
So hashtag that FitGirlsChat so we can find you and we can stay connected. One other thing before we go, mark your calendars now. I know the summer is so busy, but we want to schedule one more chat with you in July. So Thursday, July 24th, we'll do it again at 7 p.m. So mark that chat, star us, heart us, whatever you need to do in your planner. Make sure that you plan to be with us because we are going to be talking about even more don't sweat it tips for summer fitness and fat loss, and it's going to be awesome. You guys are great.
Some great questions just coming in. I just want to talk about this one really quick from Debbie. She asks, would we eat oats with eggs at breakfast? Let me teach you guys a tip that I learned from my coach, and I think Kate knows this one too. This is my rule. This is like my guide, my go-to when I'm eating out. So let's take my favorite meal of the week. That would be brunch. No secret there. I love brunch. When I'm looking at the menu, for example, when I was in New Orleans, at the Ruby Slipper, which let me tell you is a greasy spoon. That is not a diet-friendly restaurant. I looked at that menu and I went straight to the protein. So I didn't look
Yeah.
at the pancakes or the French toast or any of that stuff. I went straight to the omelets. And then I looked for one that, do they have an egg white option? Is there a veggie omelet? Is there, what are my options here? And so what I ended up doing a couple days during that week, during my trip, was I went back to the Ruby Slipper, a really unexpected place to find a fat loss meal. Who knew?
We
But
need to call the Ruby Slipper and like give them some props or something.
I'm serious. And I really need to. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
But they make this amazing, huge, like covered half my plate, egg white omelet with spinach and goat cheese and mushrooms. Came with a side of fruit, and then I think it had, if you wanted potatoes or grits or a biscuit or whatever. So I chose to do a little bit of grits because I was having to work out multiple times that day for the event that I was at. And I knew that I'd need those extra carbs, and I avoid gluten, so I didn't do anything like a biscuit or toast. A few bites of the grits. Most of my carbs came from the fruit, the vegetables, and the omelet. A few bites of grits, but mostly, my plate was covered in protein. So what I did there was I went high protein and low fat. I did an egg white omelet instead of doing whole eggs. Yolks are good for you. Do not misunderstand me. But if I'm going to do a higher carb meal, which is what my body needed that day for how active I was going to be, I made a choice. If I'm going to go higher carb, I go low fat, lower fat. If I want to go higher in fat, so let's say I wanted, whole eggs in my omelet, I wanted some cheese in there, I wanted to do some bacon on the side, that's a higher fat, lower carb meal. So I'll put it in the chat box, but think carb up, fat down, fat up, carb down. And that goes to your question as well, Debbie. So when you're looking at your eggs and your oatmeal in the morning, if you want to do a bigger bowl of oatmeal, go for egg whites. Go for something that's a little lower in fat. If you want to go whole eggs, a fattier breakfast, because maybe that works better for you, then look at reducing the amount of oats to maybe a quarter cup instead of a half a cup, just a few bites. But ultimately, it comes back to that test. That does it balance my hunger, energy, cravings? You might have to play around, see what you do better with, and but that's kind of how you figure it out.
Awesome.
Okay, good, Amanda. Glad I answered your question.
Yeah. So both Leslie Ann and I, like she said, we are all over social media. You can find us on our blogs, and our email addresses are there as well. So if you have questions or comments, or if there's anything that you're unsure of that we talked about, shoot us an email, send us a tweet. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We are here to help you. So it was great chatting with you guys. Thanks for being on the call. We are looking forward to talking with you next month. And in the meantime, we're looking forward with connecting and staying in touch for the next couple weeks. So let us know how you're doing with these nutrition things that we talked about. Remember, don't get overwhelmed. Pick one thing, start there. Implement that, master it, and then add on. So let us know how you do. Keep us updated, and we will talk to you soon.
Yay, you guys rock. Thank you. We'll see you later.